What's the smartest revenge you've pulled on a company that tried to scam you? I live in what's called a consolidated county. Years ago, the city and county merged governments, supposedly to cut costs and make everything more efficient. In practice, it meant the city lost control of key services, and the county handed a lot of them off to private companies. Fire, police, utilities, trash pickup, all shuffled around. The result? We started paying more money for worse service. Trash and yard waste collection is a perfect example. It used to be straightforward, with crews coming twice a week, picking up almost anything reasonable you left out, and keeping the neighborhood clean. But when the county outsourced it, everything changed. The two companies in charge were lazy, picky, and overpriced. They made up arbitrary rules, rejected bags for being too heavy, left piles behind, and only came once a week. It felt like their whole job was finding excuses not to work. Last summer, I tackled a big yard project. Over 2 weekends, I trimmed bushes, cut limbs, and even took down a dead tree in my backyard. Knowing how finicky the trash company could be, I made sure to follow the rules. All small clippings and leaves went into those brown paper yard waste bags you buy at the hardware store. I filled 3, but only halfway so they wouldn't be heavy. Larger branches were cut down to under 4 feet. The main pile at the curb measured about 3 feet tall, 4 feet deep, and 10 feet long, technically maybe 4 inches over if you counted the tiniest twig ends. Pickup day was Tuesday. I came home from work to find my entire pile still sitting there. On my door was a notice. Oversized load, pickup refused. Must reduce by half or pay $250 special fee. That's when I decided to fight back. The next morning, I got creative. I trimmed the pile down to exactly 9 feet and set the trimmings on top. Then I grabbed 4 long, straight limbs from the leftover stack in my backyard. I stripped them bare, marked them at 1-foot intervals in bright orange paint, and planted them in the ground at the corners of a rectangle exactly 5 feet wide and 10 feet long. With pink surveyor's tape tied around the top at 5 feet high, I'd built a perfect visual box showing the limits they always cited. Then I rebuilt my pile, this time stuffing it full. I hauled out almost 2/3 of the limbs I'd saved for the following week and stacked them neatly inside the taped-off box. I measured carefully, 4 feet 6 inches wide, 4 feet 6 inches deep, 9 feet 6 inches long, every piece trimmed under 46 inches. I even included some small logs, 4 inches thick, cut to regulation size. The pile was nearly double the size of my original one, but every bit of it was within the rules. Next came the bags. Instead of leaving them half full, I repacked them to the brim. I added heavy chunks of branch ends for weight, stapled them shut, and rolled them to the curb with a dolly. Each one was now too heavy for a single man to lift. I ended up with 5 bags, the maximum allowed. Once everything was set, I called the company. "You missed my pickup on Tuesday," I said pleasantly. "Could you send someone today?" They warned me again about the $250 fee. "That's fine," I told them. A couple of hours later, the same crew that usually came to my street pulled up. They saw the taped-off box and my carefully stacked mountain of limbs. Before they could even open their mouths, I pulled out a 25-foot Stanley tape measure from my pocket. "Go ahead," I told them. "Measure it." They checked every side, 10 feet by 5 by 5, exactly within the rules. They couldn't say a word. Then came the best part. For the next 2 hours, I stood there in shorts with a cold Gatorade while they sweated through loading every log, every stick, every overstuffed bag onto their truck. It took 2 of them together just to wrestle each bag. I smiled, thanked them for doing their jobs, and even pointed to the orange tape I'd marked on my fence. "See, I really do know what 10 feet looks like." They groaned, climbed into the cab, and drove off. No extra fee was ever added to my bill, and from that day forward, they've never skipped me again. Not once. Every pickup since, they've taken everything, left no mess, and never dared leave a notice on my door. It cost me a morning's work, but the lesson stuck. If they wanted to play games, I was more than willing to play by their rules, and make sure they regretted trying to cheat me.